Yeah, maybe it's too big of a size to send, who knows. Okay, let's just skip a little bit. Let me just say this. So they said to the Rebbe, you're free. Since that this is Rosh Chodesh Tammuz was on Thursday, and they said to the Rebbe, okay, you can go home for a few hours, and then you have to catch the train, and you have to go to exile. He had to go to exile. He couldn't run away. There was no way he could run away. They would certainly catch him. He had to go to exile. So the Rebbe said, one second, if I leave now, Mata yagia lekastrama, when will I reach here? Mata yagia lekastrama, when am I going to reach Kastrama? They said, Shabbat. The Rebbe said, Shabbat lo yisah b'shum ofen. I'm not going to travel on Shabbat. Now you have to realize to stay, every minute that he was in prison, it was sakanas nefashos, it was dangerous. Any second they could kill him, they could poison him, they could choke him, they could hit him, they could beat him. They didn't lack ways of killing people. Right? He could just disappear from off the face of the earth. And nevertheless, the Rebbe said, whatever is going to be, I'm in the hands of God, and you are not going to make me defile the Shabbos, even though that Al Pi Torah I can do it. 100% I can do it. No way are you going to have any power over me or over Judaism. Sipur Rebbe, when the Rebbe said, Baruch Hashem, lo nasati b'Shabbos. The Rebbe told the story, he said, thank God I didn't travel on Shabbos. Natarti b'Shabbos b'Beit HaSohar. He remained in the prison until Sunday. What did he eat there on Shabbos? I have no idea. But he stayed in the prison.
Right, so they took a boat from Russia to the States, right?
No, train. Oh, from the States, for sure, a boat, for sure.
So...
That was later, though. That was much later. That was 13 years afterwards.
Yeah, but you can't travel on Shabbos, right?
A boat can travel on Shabbos. Yes, it can. Of course, a boat can. Ki biyom chamishi. There's a whole chapter in the Shulchan Aruch about how to do. You have to get in before Shabbos. You have to make a kinyan, a place. Ki biyom chamishi lo ratzu linsoa. He said, I'm not going to go on Thursday.
How long would the boat ride be?
I'm sorry?
How long would the boat ride be?
The boat ride, I think, was 12 days. I think so. 12 days. That's how long it took. The Rebbe, when the Rebbe arrived in America, which was in 1941, and that was we just now had it. The previous Rebbe arrived in Adar in 1940, Tafshin, and the Rebbe arrived in Sivan, just like it was now, which is like a year and 2-3 months later. And when he was traveling, the Rebbe's story is no less amazing. The previous Rebbe was when the Germans bombed Warsaw. The Germans bombed Warsaw in 1939. 1939, the Rebbe was there. Previous Rebbe was in the bombing of Warsaw in 1939. And he miraculously escaped. He got on one of the last boats that left Warsaw. The Rebbe, though, he was in France. And France was taken over by the Nazis really early in the war. And the French government collaborated with the Nazis. So the Rebbe, in order to get out, he had to go to Spain and then sneak over the border into Portugal. And from Portugal, they took a ship to America, and the Germans shot torpedoes at the ship. And they miraculously, they missed it. But they shot at the ship. The Germans were trying to control stop all sea travel from all the Allied nations. So he said, listen, I'll leave now, and I'll go home, and then first thing on Saturday, Motzi Shabbos, I'll travel. They said, no, we're not going to let you. You can stay in your house for a few hours, and you have to go. She said, okay, I'll stay in the prison. Ad Yom Rishon. But Yom Rishon, on the first day, on Sunday, then he went home, and that night he went to Kastrama. Now, we can't take it. You stay in the base of Midrash for a little bit too long. You want to eat, you want to sleep, you want to go up to your room. You're tired. Here, the Rebbe spent 3 days in prison, the worst situation could possibly be, because he didn't want anyone to say that the non-Jews, the communists especially, had any effect on him whatsoever, that he did not give in to them at all. And as I told you a lot of times, in 1990, the entire communist world just fell. All of communism just fell in Russia. I think it was this a prime minister stood up over there, and he threw the whole thing. And the Rebbe said the reason that it happened was because of what the previous did, the self-sacrifice of the previous Rebbe. But that's Judaism. You understand? What is Judaism? Judaism is a movement invented by God to bring the Mashiach through self-sacrifice. The first Jew is Abraham, and we're trying to emulate him as much as possible. Self-sacrifice. So that's what the previous Rebbe did.
But didn't God invent everything, even the light bulb?
The Sipur, we'll talk about that. The Sipur Zeh Hosif HaRebbe Ki HaChassid Rav Michal Dvorkin Higia Livnechem on the Kostroma. One of his Chassidim called Michal Dvorkin, he went to this place called Kostroma. Ubizman Zeh Ad Labo Rebbe, and then he gathered children. There were Jewish children that were living there. He gathered children, and he made a place of learning. And he also tried to make a mikveh there in Kostroma. In other words, the very things that the Rebbe was put into prison for, Shebigalalam Asur Rebbe v'shaftu otam, and judged them and sentenced them to death. Only in the most amazing miracles did he get out. Those things the Rebbe continued as soon as he got out. Miyad b'tzeito miyamasur, as soon as he got out from prison. Od b'terem shebo ba'atzma l'kostrama, even before he came to Kostroma. He already sent b'fanav Goshna, like it says that Yaakov, before he went down to Egypt, as he sent Yehuda Goshna to make Torah places to learn. Shalach shaliach, that the Rebbe sent this Dworkin, that he should make. So that's a question you're going to ask. All the other religions, they promise you all these other things. What is religion? What does Judaism promise you? If you really accept on yourself to be a Jew, what does it promise you? Right? What do you get? It says what you get is the truth. That's what you get. Right? You get benefits, you get health, you get this. Yeah, it's you're supposed to. It's a nice thing, but it's not essential. Not essential. When Mashiach comes, Mashiach fixes up the world, then it'll be good for everybody. But all Judaism promises you is what God promised to Abraham. Right? What did he promise him? You're going to have children like the stars of the sky. You're going to have the land of Canaan, and Abraham did not get it. He did not get children like the stars of the sky. He did not get a land of Canaan, and Yitzchak didn't get it, and Yaakov didn't get it, and Moshe didn't get it. So what does Judaism promise you? It promises you the truth, the reality, truth. It promises you truth. And if a person really has the truth, his life is more, when you want to call it, focused. He has a purpose. If it's the truth, that's what Judaism promises. Okay, let's do just one more. I'll say it in English. Base. Okay? Stories that happened to the Rebbes, especially if he himself, this means it's not just a nice story about a brave man. The same like the stories in the Torah. These aren't just stories about wonderful heroes in our past. These stories, how Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov stood against all odds, and how the Rebbe defied communism, these are stories for us to learn from. One of the stories, the points is, after the Rebbe opened up the door, opened up the window to this type of self-sacrifice, that a Jew can make a firm resolution in his soul, shekol astorim al nefesh elokis, that anything that tries to detour or stand in the way of or hide, pakol hafrot, or disturb, v'ameniut lahafatzat hayadut, and that tries to get in the way of spreading out Judaism, you should know that they are nothing. Don't pay any attention to them. Ubehachlata ko tekifa. If you make a strong decision, right? I'm tired. Doesn't make it. I'm hungry. People are going to laugh at me. There's nowhere to get there. The train stopped. What am I going to do? Don't worry, you'll find a way. Sha'af im boim u'makim. Even if people come and beat you up 3 times. Sheshlosh pamim, that's a chazaka. According to the Shulchan Aruch, you can give up. Shezu yochacha lechiora shu metzias. They beat the Rebbe up 3 times. That means the communists must exist. 3 times is a chazaka, right? You ever hear that before? 3 times is a chazaka. 3 times is a chazaka. That's why you say if you do something 3 times in a row, that you have to make, it's like a neder. Right? It's like a neder, and you have to get the neder permitted, right? Every day you wake up in the morning, you say the whole Tehillim. You do it 3 days in a row, and then you want to stop there on the 4th day. Technically, you have to go to a rabbi and say, Rabbi, listen, I didn't intend to. 3 times is called a chazaka. Huh? It's not a good thing. It's like a vow. It's like if you make a vow not to eat any pickles, and by accident you eat a pickle. You broke the vow. Not a good thing. So if the world does something to you 3 times in a row, that's a sign that the world really exists, right? It's really there. Says the Rebbe, forget it. The previous Rebbe was beaten 3 times by communists. That's a sign the communists really exist, right? The Rebbe didn't pay any attention to them. That's a sign to us that in order to get things done in the world for Judaism, you have to have self-sacrifice. You have to not pay attention to what the world says. You have to not pay attention to what people say or what you think people are thinking about you. This causes that even such a Jew, Hanimsa, which is found, Bil'umatze, is found in the depth of evil. Gam hu chash sheyeshnu yadut chassidut Rebbe. There were Jews that even in the lowest places, the Rebbe was in prison. There was thousands of Chassidim that they did the same thing to. And there was millions of Jews that they did the same thing to in Poland and Russia, and the Germans did. A person, though, feels that no, my life is Judaism. My life is the Torah. My life is the Rebbe. My life is Chassidus. Nothing in the world is going to make me lose that. It can even be that he wakes up, like it says, like these guards that took him in. They were communists, they were murderers, they were Jews, murderers. And one of them said, Rebbe, what is that? And the Rebbe turned to him and said, oh, I'm your Rebbe, huh? You're telling them, I'm your Rebbe, still a Rebbe. You know? And they beat him up, but they still knew he was a Rebbe. Sof calls Sof, in the end, Mivatzea Adam B'Hatzlacha, in the end a person will be successful. And in a way that's miraculous. Not only the main things, the important things, but even things that are secondary. Right? The Rebbe was put into prison. Why? To break communism. But meanwhile, this guy Lulav, right? Or which one was it? The other one, Levelov. He said, Rebbe, he woke up another Jew. Suddenly another Jew woke up. Right? That was, by the way, it says that when the Jews went out to war, they would bring the broken tablets with them. And only tzaddikim could go out to war. Only tzaddikim could go out to war. He says, Mi'a Yorev Rachalevav, a person that had Averos Biyado. He says, even if a person that had the Averos, the most simple Averos he didn't put on, what is it, the Tefillin Shel Yad or something, the most, right? He couldn't go out to war, only the big tzaddikim. So he says, when they went out to war, as they would sometimes meet a Eishes Yafas Torah, a beautiful Goyish woman, would all of a sudden come, and the soldiers would notice her, oh, this is a nice lady. How could they? These were big tzaddikim. And when they went out with the luchos. So it says they went out to war in order to win the war. But there were also sparks of holiness. And these sparks would sometimes be inside of these non-Jewish ladies and whatever it is. And the woman would come and she had to convert. It's a whole big process. Eishes Yafas Torah. Right. They were allowed to have relations with her one time. Ubelashan a Rebbe, like the previous Rebbe's father, the Rebbe Rashab. Shleimut lo rak be'etzim ki gam bitpashtut. A person can have shleimus. He can be a big tzaddik, can be a big thing in his essence. But what about the little things that he does in the course of the day? He says that has effects on people in the most, casual, by the way ways. Cherus. I'll just tell one more story. There's a rabbi. There's a lot of stories like this, but there's a rabbi in Kiryat Malachi called Rabbi Vechter. Rabbi Vechter, he was a Satmar Chassid. Satmar was very, very opposed to Chabad. Not really so much idealistic reasons, Judaism, because Chabad didn't have the proper attitude towards Zionism. That's what they thought. Let's not go into that. Anyway, so he eventually became a Chassid Chabad. He started learning Chabad Chassidut, and he was a big genius anyway. He was a head of a kollel, and he started learning Chassidut. So it ended up that the Satmar, they beat him up and they almost killed him, and the whole story. He had to run to Israel, and just recently his mother passed away. He was afraid to go back because they still hate him. Anyway, he said one day, I was at one of his talks. So one day, someone came up to him and said, "Rebbe, you saved my life. I was going to change my religion, and you saved my life." He said, "Well, when was that?" He said, "Oh, at a farbringen that you made at such and such a place." He said, "I remember." He said, "What did I say?" He said, "You said this and this." He said, "I don't remember the farbringen. I don't remember that I ever said such a thing like that to anybody. I don't remember the person. I have no idea who the guy was, what it was. By the way, and it saved the person's life, right?" It's the same thing. When you do something in a genuine way and with self-sacrifice, it has effect that you would never believe. Results that you can't imagine. Until finally, eventually, the whole world will be fixed up. Here's your letter, as we'll learn, God willing, tomorrow.